Ducklings, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I was a little bit concerned that we actually wouldn't have the series and that there'd be a walkover, but looks like they found the players. Thank God. So I do apologize for the extended break, but looks like we were missing our players, just making sure that everyone woke up and got their vetoes going and got this show underway. As I just mentioned here, the final series of the broadcast is going to be a PvP between Trigger and MaxPax. We have Sturgeon and Gemini on the casting couch. They're going to be joining us here today. And let's go. We're getting ready here for our second PvP of the broadcast. For those of you curious, we did feature Gemini, Sort of and State earlier in the broadcast. There's going to be no Tasteless. Tasteless is over in the Americas at the moment. I believe they just posted merely earlier today that they were at the esports awards. Both Tasteless and Artosis, they were both there. So again, they're not going to be available here to cover parts of the playoffs. It'll be unfortunate if they don't get to cover any of it. Specifically, Artosis, I know he's a big part of the event, and he's a big part of the Patreon as well. A lot of people do tune in just to hear Artosis, just to hear Tasteless, I meant to say. So hopefully he's going to be a part of at least the final couple of days of the event itself. But regardless, for now, we're about to jump into our PvP. Vetoes, I believe, should soon be shown.
Honestly, wouldn't even be surprised if this goes like a game 5. I wouldn't be surprised if Trigger wins at all.
Yeah, not just in PvP. I think Trigger's really skyrocketed to the top of the pro scene incredibly fast. Like a year or two ago, we weren't really talking about him as kind of, one of the top players of his race, but he's absolutely up there now. So, I mean, I probably would still favor MaxPax, but like you say, I wouldn't be like completely shocked if Trigger was able to pull out a win here.
Yeah, he's just an excellent player in the last couple of years. I mean, his micro is incredibly solid. Like, it's just...
I would agree with the sentiment that Trigger, he rose up relatively quickly. If you remember, we were actually there when Trigger debuted. I want to say Trigger debuted in the online weekly cups. Ooh, was this in 2021? 2021, 2022-ish era of StarCraft. I want to say that we had 1 year which was Patty Mac, and then the next year Trigger debuted. It was like back-to-back-ish. I want to say like 2020, 2021-ish era of StarCraft. Nowadays, of course, Trigger, he is the best of his region, the best of the Americas, and one of the best Protoss players in the world. As I mentioned, MaxPax is favorite here, but Trigger has been more aggressive as of late, and MaxPax has been going back into his own MaxPax build. There's a lot to get into in regards to PvP once we get into our games.
Is it like an overlay, you mean, type thing?
Yeah, because I don't know, because I remember a long time ago when you would stream, sometimes like your cursor would look different on stream, like specifically like if you clicked when you were streaming, like it would flash like a different color or something. I remember that from like a long time ago. I just thought it was something like that where it was only an output to stream thing.
I don't know.
I've never would have changed my crosshair to like literally just like a little circle.
It's very strange to me. I want like the point of the pointer,
exactly.
right? So you know exactly where you're clicking. I mean, obviously works for him. He's got incredible micro, but
it's an interesting alteration. I wonder, can you do that on like, can you do that at LAN? Can you like change? Can you change the PC to make sure it's the same cursor? That's what I'm curious about now.
I mean, it depends how you're changing it, right?
Yeah,
like, I have no idea.
I need to ask him when he comes to the.
If we have a player interview with Trigger, that would be a very good question.
Speaking of, I wish they did have winners interviews, by the way.
Doesn't really matter too much.
Smurge, man, smurge.
It's interesting to think about.
We had to fill the time while the players veto the map somehow, guys.
We're not just rambling about the most
well, we kind of are, but there's a reason.
For no reason or anything. Yeah. Exactly. We were getting everyone ready, so unfortunately we had a little bit of downtime there to cover, but we should hopefully be getting into this series in just a little bit. But yeah, MaxPax versus Trigger is going to be hopefully a banger. Our PvP earlier in the day was a bit one-sided.
Yeah.
Hero versus Zound, if no one was there to see it, because it did start earlier on in the day. Then
someone on Twitter said Artosis is over there to receive the best award for Mario TTS. Oh no.
Hero just
not like this.
Down, basically. It was pretty one-sided. So hopefully this one is a little bit more close.
Yeah, very impressive stuff by Hero. Even that DT game, like, that shocked me, honestly, that game.
Cool.
It was cool.
Oh, we just skipped the vetoes?
Never mind that. We are finally here in game number 1 on Tokamak. In the bottom left, we have the red Protoss Trigger. And in the top right, we have the blue Protoss MaxPax.
Maxi Paxi here in this PvP.
Here we go.
Best of 5.
Here we go. We're jumping into our fresh series. If you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we jump into our best of 5 PvP. Here we go. When it comes to our matchup here, we have seen that MaxPax has been spreading his wings as of late. Over the past month, maybe over a month of play, he was mixing it up, going into his own double gate openers, 2 gate openers, own proxies as well. But in the past week of play, MaxPax has been going back to basics and been going back to gate into Cybercore, into Stargate, into expansion. He's been going back to his tried and true with mixed results.
Natural. So I'm curious to see how much he still does try to go for that in this newer patch, because it has fallen out of favor overall. The battery nerfs and whatnot have made it a little bit more difficult to defend proxy robos and other aggressive options. And for now, it does look like he's going to be sticking to that 1 gate expand for now. So we'll see how well he is able to still do that.
Yeah, so it sounds like Gemini hasn't been watching MaxPax as of late, because to answer his question, the answer is yes. He has recently been going back to going to those gates, Cyber, into Stargate, into expansions. Gemini was posing the question whether he still does it. The answer is yes, and we're seeing it here, of course.
MaxPax tries to take a natural and Trigger tries to break it. That could be the way this goes. We have a Zealot first from MaxPax,
hello.
and we have a pylon.
We're setting up for the proxy for the 1 base all in. Let's go. Trigger, he's going to commit.
He made the pylon on one side, and then he sent the probe around to make the buildings on
to
the
keep
other
it safe.
side of the mineral patches here.
Yeah, I love that, actually. It's kind
Very compact, right?
Yeah, it's just a cute little way to like make it harder for the pylon to actually
the
get
zealot.
killed off if there's like a zealot going across or something like that. So it keeps.
So thankfully Gemini is aware, but yes, as Gemini is mentioning here, the rationale for going for the pylon behind the mineral line is that if a zealot finds a proxy, it won't be close enough to attack the pylon itself. So the pylon is safer.
Like I was saying before, it likes to highlight his micro, and so this type of a build will definitely allow him to do that a little bit more, as MaxPax will just be doing his Stargate into Nexus as quickly as possible, but then still getting that scout off. Always so
nicely
diligent
done
with these probe scouts to try and see absolutely everything, and we'll see if that Zealot can actually make a connection onto any of the units.
Oh my God, he sees the pylon here as well. That's
he finds
huge
it.
Spot there.
MaxPax sees everything.
And then what she could, okay, the probe will get away, but this pylon is going down for sure.
Oof.
Actually, 3 stalkers being made here at a
backup
time
pylon
for
on the
Trigger.
way.
He's already got adepts moving across the map. He's going to be super aggressive here. The shield battery is going down for MaxPax. That will be crucial to the defense here, as well as the Oracle coming out.
The Oracle is definitely might be a little bit of a head scratcher if you're not so used to the PvP situation, but because normally you would think like, oh, he's getting attacked, he must get a Void Ray out defensively, surely, to be able to defend against this. But MaxPax is so good at these defenses that he's able to sneak this Oracle out anyways, sometimes using it for stasis and then also sending it back across the map to get probe damage to confirm that the other player is going to be totally all in. And then they still are able to defend with the Void Ray anyways. And so that's what he's going to be trying here. But it's just going to be a straight up good old 4-gate coming from Trigger in 2025. Now that's crazy.
This is shades of Wings of Liberty here.
Yeah.
There are 2 stalkers.
I mean, we've seen this build this year already, but sure.
Come back. But the good thing about that is
So yes, it's going to be a 1 base 4 gate all in out of Trigger. He's going to be pushing in towards a natural. As I did mention, the Oracle is greedy for MaxPax, going across the map, trying to ensure the supply is kept at home, and we'll see if he can make this defense happen here. More shield batteries are finishing up. The longer this goes on, the better it is for MaxPax.
Actually bring these stalkers out at some point. I mean, you could maybe recall them home.
Oh, he gets in.
Get in. Wow,
that shouldn't have happened.
Huge.
Oh, that's actually crazy. I'm amazed that MaxPax lets them in. We'll have to force the probes to be pulled, and the Oracle uses its energy to be able to kill that. That also confirms that the Oracle is not on the other side of the map anymore, so that could trigger. Sorry, that could trigger. Oh,
I get 2 shot.
To bring the stalkers
trades
forward,
1-to-1.
He will do as he tries to bust down the front here. Did he actually target his own?
Yeah, friendly fire.
I might be missing. But
He did.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah, he did. Yeah.
It looks like that is a bit of a miss micro there from Trigger, perhaps, as he's trying to deny these Void Rays from getting into critical mass. He'll try to right-click one of those down as fast as possible. The battery just barely keeps it alive. You need those to stay alive as Max.
Yeah, barely. He fails to 3 shots. He does finally get the Void Ray towards the end, but he lost so many stalkers in the process.
He needs a lot more than that, though, right now. Trying to
Brutal trade for Trigger.
The shield battery's putting in work right now. Energy overcharge as well. There's one zealot there at the front. That's going to die pretty quick here. I know he ignores it to try and pick off a stalker.
Oh, once again, I mean, there's so many forces on the low ground here. The pylons, the stalkers, sorry, are surviving.
Yeah,
they're tanking well.
The defense so far from MaxPax has been super tight knit. It's very close.
Yeah, he
going
holds.
for these types of defensive moves against the super aggression from the other player. It's like so finicky on how you're actually trying to do this micro and keep the Void Rays just barely alive. You can see just how many batteries he's been forced to make as well.
5 batteries with a 6th coming down as well?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like the amount of batteries you need now to be able to defend against this stuff is ridiculous. You just keep making them non-stop. The micro just barely keeping these Void Rays alive every single time on such low HP. And Trigger, if he's not able to break him within the next couple of waves, it's really going to start to
You could hear that from Gemini.
So he needs to be able to get something with these engages.
Yeah, there's no blink or anything like that, so each push in is very committal, losing stalkers.
You can hear the Protoss in him. He was like, it's ridiculous. Look at how many shield batteries he needs. By the way, MaxPax does shut it down, does shut down the all-in. GG, well played here. Touching on what Gemini was saying, the answer is yes. Because of the change to the shield battery, because you no longer have the shield battery overcharge, additional shield batteries are required to pull off this defense, which is why you saw so many out of MaxPax. And again, MaxPax, he was able to react well, he was able to confirm the all-in and shut the all-in down. Now, very quickly talking about this change in the meta and talking about the change on how you have to defend against these all-ins, this is a double-edged sword. What this means here is that it also means that if we have a fake out and if MaxPax gets lured into believing there's an all-in happening when there isn't, then the punish for that is a lot stronger because MaxPax would be investing into shield batteries when otherwise he wouldn't need them. That's why we do have some mind games coming to play whenever he plays against players like Classic, whenever he plays against players like Hero as well. Like the top Protoss players do trade back and forth as mind games are that much more impactful with the change to the shield battery, of course. But GG, well played. With that, MaxPax does take a lead in the series. Winding it back here, a lot of it came down to losing that first Stalker. I don't know if you noticed, but that first Void Ray was so low, and everything changes if that Void Ray gets 2-shot. If the Void Ray was on very low HP, I want to say 1 extra Stalker would have been enough for Trigger to 2-shot, because that would have been 2 extra volleys off on that Void Ray as well, to 2-shot the Void Ray, kill the first Void Ray, take away so much momentum and so much of that supply and so much of that defense away from MaxPax, and then suddenly he's able to retain a higher Stalker count, go in, pick off Stalkers, pick off Void Rays, and that's like the first domino falling and everything just snowballs out of control. It was crucial there that MaxPax was able to survive when he did, pick off the Stalker, and actually pull off that defense. Impressive. GG. GG.
We are here in game number 2 though. It's going to be on Celestial Enclave, Gemini. We have Trigger in the top right this time, in the red, and MaxPax in the blue in the bottom left.
Oh yeah, and it looks like they're both going to be doing the 1-gate expand. So as much as I might think this build is dead, apparently not. These guys like to still throw it in here. This map specifically is probably the most likely to bring it out. Of course,
this build is not dead.
And you also have that little pocket corner base back there as well.
So quickly pushing back against what Gemini just said, I mean, we're seeing it here. The build going for gate expands, it is very map dependent, and there are maps like this that do have a ramp coming into the natural. So it is viable to go for a gate cyber expands. It is expected to see this build if you do have a secure natural base. This map is more extreme because you have a pocket expansion as well, so you can get a 3-base set up very securely, and this should lead into Phoenixes, into Stargates, into Phoenix Wars.
It just doesn't really work, right? Because you eat so many shots before you even get up there.
When it comes to other maps that have a ramp coming into the natural base in the new map pool, none of them come to mind. Magnetic North, it didn't make it through TLMC. Mothership doesn't have a ramp. Winter Madness does have a ramp, so okay, Winter Madness, it would be viable to go for this as well. I think I have to I think that's the same elevation. I have to double check, but Celestial 100%.
Trigger still has his probe on this side of the map, so he could always just block the Nexus. That's why we have to kind of keep that Zealot in production. And actually MaxPax is just saying screw that.
There it is. There's a Stargate.
The map. So he's going to try to do maybe a little bit of aggression with it, or to well, he's not going to scout really because obviously he sees the Nexus already.
Nice pylon block once again.
That MaxPax's Nexus will be extremely late.
Yep.
He's actually bringing the Zealot home, but he's walled himself in completely, so I'm not really sure what that Zealot is doing right now.
Yeah, that Zealot kind of in no man's land right now.
Unfortunately, a bit of miscontrol there by MaxPax as they're trying to point out, oh, MaxPax going for the unnatural natural. Oh, God, this is going to be difficult to hold.
Wow, okay, that is not what you normally see in PvP. That's like an eBay block response that you see in PvT sometimes, but to do that in PvP is pretty wild.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, we have seen this in the past, going for the unnatural natural due to the pylon block. At least Trigger is fully aware what's going on, and Trigger has the option not to go into Stargate, but to go into an all-in on 2 bases to punish MaxPax.
Get the work account down to even that way. We'll have to see how the harass goes. I think last game Trigger dealt with it pretty well, although he did have to keep those stalkers at home for so long. We'll have to see what happens there. This pylon actually finished.
Yeah, he's actually going to be able to use it to see what the actual Stargate is building, which is nice. So he's going to be able to get the full confirmation of what's coming out there with that completed pylon vision. So that will give Trigger a good amount of information. His gas has been blocked in the meantime with all this, but he was going for a double gate after the Nexus anyway, so he wasn't even ramping up his tech super hard. So it's not going to impact him too much just yet, as also the revelation getting used kind of early there meant that one little probe actually did not get killed. And every single probe is pretty impactful, I feel like, at this point, considering the fact that Trigger is up 10 of them in a mirror matchup. That's insane.
Interesting.
Insane work lead, and he's taken a 3rd base as well.
So, Trigger, he's doubling down on his economy. I assumed that he was going to go for a 2-base all-in to punish MaxPax. That is not happening. MaxPax, he's going to have faster tech, faster blink, extra gateways, a lower economy, worse worker production, of course, and Trigger is going to stay turtling back at home, expanding, getting a 3rd. I thought Trigger was going to try to capitalize on his advantage, and he is, but just by extending his lead and getting a greater economy with that faster 3rd base.
Before any tech, like his Twilight blink timing, it's not insanely far behind. It's like it's okay, but MaxPax is actually chronoing it pretty heavily as well, so that means he's going to still be getting his done pretty quickly. Trigger, I don't believe, has been chronoing his, so that will actually kind of widen the gap just a bit. But like, if he can just keep this 3rd base alive in this little corner, which shouldn't be too hard considering the fact that it is, you know, tucked away pretty nicely, I don't think that Trigger's going to be finding too much of a difficulty staying alive in this mid game, and he should be honestly be able to just kind of ride this out, I feel like.
Yeah, it feels like MaxPax is all in. MaxPax is going all in. Now, this is why I'm concerned, is Trigger being too greedy? Because Trigger, he's getting a Forge, he's getting a Robo, he's getting +1, he's building up his economy. The army is lacking for Trigger, and MaxPax might be able to break him because there is 0 shield batteries at the natural.
Buildings here as he goes up this ramp. Obviously, it's kind of awkward to engage this as Trigger because the units are pretty far away. You can't really defend your buildings super easily. And obviously, once Blink's done, he'll be able to blink back any weak stalkers.
MaxPax expands.
And shouldn't be losing any of them carelessly.
Yeah, so we're going to be trying to do this. I like that he's using the Revelation to try and keep high ground vision so he can chip away at some of these buildings, but this is not damage that's happening. Like, Trigger doesn't really care that he might lose a gateway. Like, that's honestly just going to make his micro a little bit easier because now he doesn't have this, you know, block here to denying his stalkers from getting in range. So this is honestly not the biggest deal. Blink has now finished. He bought enough time for that. I don't even know, does MaxPax realize that that base is over in the corner either? I feel like it's kind of worth it to maybe blink a couple stalkers. He does see that. So yeah, even Trigger's looking at this, being like, why aren't you like trying to pressure
there's an
like,
opening.
4
Okay.
stalkers over there at the same time could have been good to pick off some probes and whatnot. MaxPax just going to keep going down the front.
Yeah, the Mauls are coming out now. They do so
Maul's
much
taking a lot of damage.
Stalkers that these trades are going to go really in Trigger's favor.
Yeah, she already does that in time. Trigger, he holds.
The advantage of having Blink while his opponent doesn't anymore.
And from here, Trigger, he should just be getting further ahead. He gets away with this 3rd base, his economy is untouched, and now he can focus on purely warpins and purely army production, and soon Trigger will break out. He does bait out the first stasis trap, but there's a second stasis trap which just now runs out.
Okay, sure.
All right, let's see how much more he can get done here. MaxPax is still not really finding too much damage just yet. What he is doing, though, is containing Trigger on this position at least, so he's not able to easily take a 4th base. So MaxPax has been able to get his 3rd base up pretty okay and start to transition a little bit more. So that is still something that maybe he can find some advantage from eventually if he just makes sure he doesn't die, but Trigger overall, I feel like still should be feeling pretty decent because he can just take a 4th base at this point. He's gonna have, oh wow, okay, never mind. That's just gonna get blanked on and just immediately
it's a kill, not a cancel.
Excellent moment there from MaxPax to abuse that weakness, but yeah, it's gonna have to be a really long, drawn-out game if MaxPax wants to bring this one fully back to his favor.
Yeah, he's actually caught up very well in the work accounts right now. He's got his own 3rd.
Oh, the stasis! Oh,
nice
does connect.
But there's a stasis there. Picks, locks up about 5 of those stalkers, but the Immortals are the real problem here for MaxPax's army, trying to get as much value.
Yeah, not just the Immortals, but also the upgrade lead. +1 is already done for Trigger, and +2 is on the way, so he's going to be able to enjoy that greater upgrade lead. Meanwhile, at the same time, Adepts, they will shade in, and they will get some probe kills.
It's actually unfortunate because the warp in was just before these shaded on in, so they were not able to react in time. Oof. So forced to use the probes, eventually get a couple Stalker warp ins in to be able to deal with them.
But here comes Trigger.
But the problem now for MaxPax is that this army from Trigger is so huge. Yes, he caught up on the
brutal
workers,
snipe.
But that's also because Trigger
Cybercore goes down, no more warp ins, no more Stalkers.
And this army
and Trigger, he has almost double the Stalker count. Crazy, but the Prism! Oh my god.
As he kills off the Prism, that's a good first start. But the Immortal also now getting focused down will make this a little bit easier, but there's still so many Blink Stalkers from Trigger.
Yeah, and with the core going down, he can make nothing. You know, he can't make any more Stalkers, right? So he's just going to be...
Nice bait.
Okay, very, very nice micro here by Trigger. He's looking to end
the Trigger
right now, jumps on the Stalkers. Loads of them going down for MaxPax. Trigger taking a huge supply advantage in the army sizes.
And again, the one thing keeping MaxPax alive here is that he's thankfully sniped the Prism, right? Without the Prism, without reinforcements, MaxPax, he has a chance to survive it and a chance to hold on up until the Prism reinforces, assuming that it's on the way.
Blink everything else right on top. And now at this point, I feel
nice
like
concave. You can see so many Stalkers with Trigger not actually adding any damage.
Almost nothing. The
Once again, baits out the stasis.
As well for Trigger, making it even better for him. And MaxPax is clinging on to nothing right now. He's just got a couple Zealots and Stalkers trying to defend. Trigger is going to even up the series.
What a clean game by Trigger. That was super impressive. I really like his game plan. I like how much he delayed the Nexus of MaxPax, and then just kind of rode that economic lead into a tech lead with the Immortals, and then once he had a big enough army, just sent it pretty much.
Yeah, I'm
GG.
kind of surprised that MaxPax let himself just get so far behind in that regard. It feels like those types of games are what I normally see the opposite happen, where MaxPax is the one that always has the correct read on how exactly to play that little early game skirmish of when do I get my Nexus or my Cyber or, you know, units or the Stargate first. Like, he usually understands that little mind game very well, and he's the one that is usually running away with that crazy advantage. But Trigger this time was the one that actually got...
I think I would disagree with that. Like, we often do see... I would say that Hero usually comes out on top in that little skirmish. Like, whenever Hero and MaxPax play, especially in recent times, in recent months, we've seen, like, Hero come out on top in said mind games when it comes to, do you get your Nexus first? Do you get your Cybercore first? Do you manage to get your Stargate? Do you manage to tech up or block your opponent? So I don't know if I would necessarily put as much blame on MaxPax in that kind of situation. It was just a really rough start. Winding it back, MaxPax, he was basically playing from behind for the entire game. Like, it was pretty straightforward once the openers kind of sunk in, where MaxPax, he had a heavily delayed natural base and he never really recovered. Towards the end of the game, you saw that MaxPax, he had a worker lead, but that was at the very end, and the workers didn't actually pay for themselves at that point. They didn't really kick in time because of the earlier lead and the longer lead that Trigger had throughout the course of the majority of that game, getting up to his own 3-base setup. And as they were emphasizing themselves, even, they pointed out, like, hey, once Trigger got on 3 bases, yes, MaxPax was applying pressure, but all he killed was a gateway, right? Like, he wasn't really doing any economic damage. He wasn't really slowing down Trigger. But that's also partly because of the map. On this map, on Celestial Enclave, it is very easy to maintain your 3-base economy or 2.5-base economy because that pocket expansion, right? It is so difficult to really apply pressure and abuse that base. It is very, very difficult, and because of that, it was the correct call for Trigger to just get further ahead economically instead of going for a 2-base all-in. So GG well played. Again, just a really awkward start for MaxPax, and again, a very unique situation because of the map itself, because of how Celestial Enclave plays out. GG well played. With that, we're tied up 1-1, and we're going to be going on a break. Here, and when we come back, we're going to have game number 3 to determine who will take a lead between these two players. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, we have returned here with, again, the final series of the day, as I did mention. Welcome back to Trigger vs. MaxPax. We're tied up 1-1, and we're here to determine who will take a lead in the series.
Both wins. MaxPax able to defend a 4-gate in the first game, and the second one, Trigger just going absolutely buck wild with a super fast Nexus and just having absolutely nothing hurt him basically the whole time.
Yeah, pretty one-sided, as you said. The proxy being found in game 1.
Yeah, as I'm mentioning, so far the series hasn't really told us anything. Like, the series has been pretty straightforward so far. Game 1, all-in gets scouted, all-in gets shut down. Game 2, player takes an economic lead, maintains the economic lead. Like, that's kind of been the tale of game 1 and game 2 so far. It's been pretty straightforward, pretty one note. We'll see if we do get like a back and forth mid-game between the two players. I hope so. PvP can be really chaotic, and we might never get that. But I hope that's not the case. I hope we're able to embrace a longer game here as loading into Magnetic North. Let's go.
Yeah, it's too long. Look at that.
It's too big.
Make your names shorter, map makers. Come on.
Yeah.
You need to be able to read them.
Yeah. The TLMC 21 is taking up a lot of space there.
That tag.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Magnetic North coming on in as our next map for
Ram coming into the high ground.
Looks like MaxPax yet again loves doing these 1-gates, so still will be going for those. It worked for him in the first game. Not quite so the second, but Trigger looks like he's going to be sticking to potentially a little bit of a 2-gate opener this
surprisingly
time.
So.
It'll be a bit more of the...
So winding it back here, so we have a gate, a Cyber Stargate expand out of MaxPax. This makes sense. There is the natural aces on the high ground, so you have a much more secure natural. What is surprising is that Trigger isn't going for the same build, and look at Trigger's camera, he's going for the proxy. He's going for the proxy on the left-hand side of the map, on the other side of the mineral patches, so it looks like Trigger's going for a 1-base all-in. Now, I'm not opposed to Trigger going for a 1-base all-in against MaxPax. What I am opposed by is Trigger going for a 1-base all-in, specifically on a map where there is a ramp up into the natural, specifically on a map where it is safer to go for a greedy build. So this is a bold move out of Trigger. The map is going to be working against Trigger. The map is going to be helping MaxPax, and we'll see if Trigger can pull this off.
Or I could just proxy edge.
That's also what you could do. Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I had this as well, where I was playing against a Terran, and I dissuaded their SCV from getting in, and then I was like, nice, okay, I get to hide my tech, and then 10 seconds later, the SCV was in my main base. I was like, what the? Where did you come from? I was like, oh, crap. Yeah, worker path. I couldn't
it changes the game a lot, actually.
Again, as you mentioned, so 1-base all-in out of Trigger. MaxPax, he probe scouts. MaxPax does confirm that a pylon is missing. True. He knows.
Yes, double adept with a proxied robo from Trigger as a means to try and break MaxPax's 1-gate expand. So double adept is definitely something. Actually, is that... Wait, did the first 2 adepts finish? Okay, no, they didn't.
Eye scouts, he confirms.
But look at this. Scouted yet again.
MaxPax is so fast every time as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. He always finds it. No matter what you try, no matter where you put it, he's always going to find this thing. He always just sends his probe all over the place. Sometimes he sends a second probe even if he really wants to make sure. But yeah, he's going to know exactly what's going on. The probe at the front does die.
And again, as we mentioned, this map is going to be favoring the defending player as well. So there's a lot working against Trigger here.
Yeah, I think this is still going to be all in MaxPax's court to defend with some Void Rays against the attack.
Yeah, I don't know where those adepts are going. They kind of took the wrong.
Yeah, this time I believe MaxPax does go Void Ray first, not Oracle, so it's going to be a faster, a stronger defense here for MaxPax. Shield batteries are on the way, getting 3 already, 1 in the main.
This game, and already 4 shield batteries in production, Gemini.
Jesus.
You cannot screw around when you're going against this type of build, man. You need the battery protection. And this time we have the Prism coming up into the main base to try and drop off the Adepts
Jesus,
first.
3 batteries at the natural.
Knows that this is a potential from Trigger, so he has got his units in position. And the Void Ray also to meet the Prism.
He gets it! Oh my god.
And that means it is going to get killed off instantaneously.
That's game.
Taking a massive
that's the Prism and 2 Stalkers going down.
Already the first 3.5 minutes of the game.
Dude, even having a shield battery there to not lose a single unit, what a perfect defense from MaxPax so far. I mean, losing that War Prism completely takes the wind out of the sails of your push, right? You have to remake.
I mean, again, as we mentioned, because of the high ground, it makes that natural base even more impenetrable. It makes it easier to defend. And we saw that, despite that, of course, MaxPax got 3 shield batteries at the natural when Void Ray first, taking it very seriously. And MaxPax should be fine here. Should be able to enjoy his greater economy, build up on 2 bases, and snowball from here.
Twilight Council coming on in back at home, and the Prism trying to be remade here. So Trigger is basically going to try to, feign the aggression still happening a little bit, but will be trying to just transfer into what is likely going to just be a one-base blink all-in that happens much later. But I mean, MaxPax already realizes what kind of a position he's in. He's reprobing.
No shot we go Dark Shrine, right? It's got to be blink.
As long as this Prism doesn't just get insane damage.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a way Trigger can get a lot of damage done here, and I guess it's this angle he's found away from the shield battery.
That instant reaction.
Yeah, that was so fast. Wow. Gonna save all those probes but 2. Or maybe,
gets 3.
Okay, he does get a 3rd one. That's
okay,
something.
gets
This
4.
one goes down to the natural.
Oh, yeah.
You get a 4th. Okay, that's nice.
Nice damage.
MaxPax's still 9 ahead though, so I don't think he's too worried about that right now. As long as he doesn't get like broken, you know, have his door kicked in, I think he's gonna be okay here.
Yeah, honestly, more damage than I was expecting with that fast probe pull, but I mean, yeah, like you said, like this is not going to be tipping the scales in his favor by any means. He's going to need much more than that. He does have the observer constantly on the Void Rays, so he knows exactly where they're going to be positioned. But still, you have to still wait for this blink to actually finish. This gives so much time for MaxPax to ramp everything up. The blink is still barely even like halfway done at this point. He was supply blocked as well as Trigger. Oh, this is just a brutal game to watch ever since that Prism got sniped immediately.
Yeah, that's really set him back here. He does have a really large Stalker count, and we know Trigger's micro is, you know, immaculate. He could make something happen, but I think it's going to be really tough. Like, can you ever break that natural? Like, maybe you can kill the buildings, but I don't think you're going to get through there. Like, there's shield batteries there and everything. I think the only way you do it is through the main, but then there's those 3 Void Rays that might just snipe your War Prism, like, instantly. Obviously, you have the Observer to give vision, so you could blink on top of them. It's going to be a bit of a micro battle there. I think that's the only way that he's going to get in, and we're going to see him try to achieve that as the blink finishes. This is actually an insane amount of Stalkers. That's more than I was expecting. 17 versus the 6 of MaxPax. He does have 4 Void Rays and Immortal to back
I mean,
up.
as they're mentioning, there's still 4 Void Rays though.
I mean, try and get a time on him. There's just so much from MaxPax.
He activates.
One Void Ray does
Prismatic
go down for
alignment.
something, but he needs way more than that. The Prism as well.
Yeah, he holds fine. He's perfectly fine. GG.
That is going to be GG. MaxPax takes game number 2. What a kind of flawless defense, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that was just literally textbook from MaxPax.
GG. GG, well played. Weighing it back, again, MaxPax, he was able to confirm the all-in that Trigger was going for, able to completely shut it down. I was able to scout, was able to get ready at the natural base, and of course prepare in the main. We were emphasizing, and it's good to explain why, but we were emphasizing how the map was going to be working against Trigger. Because of the ramp coming into the natural, it does mean that you need less units in position to defend your natural, to the point where MaxPax actually had 0 units in his natural base. He had 3 shield batteries, the entire army was ready at the main base instead, and with that he was able to zone away and kill the first War Prism. With the Prism going down, that was game. That was game then and there. We saw that Triggery tried to deviate into a second all-in with Blink, but at that point, like, he had already lost so much momentum. We saw that MaxPax built up to 4 Void Rays, built up to Immortal production as well, was perfectly fine. GG, well played. GG, well played. Again, I'm not too fond of the build choice of Trigger. I do like the idea of going for one-base all-ins against MaxPax. We've seen them work before, but again, I feel like it has to be very map specific, and here on Mega Knight North, like, there's so much working against you here, so GG. GG, well played. With that, MaxPax, he's 1 game away from claiming the series. Let's go. Let us go. As we get ready here for game number 4, and we'll see what map we load into. We'll see if Trigger can force the ace match. Una más, papi, una más. Let's go.
Yeah, it's just been an absolute masterclass from MaxPax. We'll see what's going to be happening in our next game. If MaxPax can close it out, 3-1, or if we're going to be sending it off to a game number 5, it's going to be Winter Madness, the other winter-looking map right back to back. I like this map, actually. It's kind of nice. It's kind of, you know, some people are saying it's a little too bright on your eyes when you're playing, but I actually don't really mind the bright maps. I kind of like them.
In the bottom right hand corner, we do have a Danish Protoss player for Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. In the top left, we do have Trigger, the Canadian Protoss for Basilisk. Let's go, papi, let's go. Now we're getting to Mega Knight North. Fun fact, I would actually prefer Trigger to have gone for a one-base all-in here instead, but ideally I don't like the idea of going for a one-base all-in 2 games in a row. So I feel like the opportunity was missed. This map is very large. It has a more accessible natural base as well, and there's a higher chance for you to pull off something like an all-in on Winter Madness. So again, I feel like the opportunity was missed, but now we're going to be settling into our into our 4th game. MaxPax once again looks like he's setting up on the high ground, not on the low ground, but is opening up with a single gateway.
True.
So I can see all the widow mines.
Nice.
I like that. Yeah.
That's a very good point, actually.
Yeah, but anyway, back to this PvP. We have MaxPax in the bottom right, Trigger in the top left, and both players go in for a gate and a core here, as well as another gate for Trigger.
Yeah, so 2 gate open out of Trigger, gate
build
side
to
route of
last game.
MaxPax.
Do you think he's going to do the same thing, or?
Yeah. What, Matt Trigger or MaxPax?
Trigger.
I think
There's no
he's
proxy.
going to try to do something a little different. You kind of have to...
Quickly jumping on that. There is no proxy, so no one base all in out of Trigger. Trigger, he's going to go for a very different kind of build. MaxPax is going for more of the same, and our eyes are mainly on Trigger here to see how he deviates and what he brings to the table.
Because if you just try to do the same thing that doesn't work one time, it's not going to work again. Like, you're going to be so prepared for it as the one gate expanding player, so especially if someone as good at it as MaxPax is. So it gets really difficult to try to
Stargate
break
opener.
them, and it looks like Trigger will be switching it up
Okay.
this time with an in-base
He could open
Stargate
Phoenix.
to try and tip the tide in his favor. So we'll see what exactly he wants to do with that.
Yeah, MaxPax does have his own Stargate.
So,
and this can lead to
because
this
MaxPax is so predictable as a player, Trigger knows that there's a Stargate, he knows it's going to be an Oracle first, which means Trigger could try to hard counter with a Phoenix. Meanwhile, MaxPax is lacking that information. If he was aware, he could open up Phoenix himself.
He's going to have the...
So there's a lot of potential here from the side of Trigger.
I actually, I think what you want to be doing there as Trigger is canceling that shade if you see the Adept, because what you want to try and deny this scout. You can't let them know that you're expanding as the 2-gate player, because that just alleviates so much pressure from the 1-gater. They have no reason to suspect anything happening. They're just free to probe up. They can cut batteries here and there if they want to. It looks like MaxPax is just going to be getting the battery to block the Adepts from getting in the main base, and also one in the main, because he knows, or at least he's sniffing out the Stargate, seeing that it was a double Adept opener. Most likely is going to be Stargate, so I think he's just sniffing that out as well.
Yeah, both players are going to be going into Phoenixes here. Do you think there's a chance we may go into Mass Phoenix here?
Yes.
Or, yeah, I mean, at some point you can transition out into Blink Stalkers, right? Once you get like a third base, maybe?
Oh, that doesn't get him top of the Oracle.
If you're actually committed into Phoenix versus Phoenix, you cannot switch out.
Ever.
Like you are stun locked.
You're trapped.
Yes, you are completely locked in. MaxPax not expecting.
I agree with what Gemini's saying. I mean, what he's saying is correct. Like, if you commit into Phoenix Wars, you have to commit into Phoenix Wars, and you cannot stop making Phoenixes. There is a window in time where we could see a player try to switch into Blink Stalker. It's not easy, but we could see that, and the Adept does confirm no more Phoenix production. He sees.
So yeah, this is actually not too bad for Trigger. All things looking pretty good here. He's got 3 Phoenix over the 2 of MaxPax. So if they do lock into that Phoenix War, which it looks like, based off the extra Stargate from Trigger, it might be, but no, actually.
There's that Blink transition, man.
As we mentioned, there's only one Stargate for Trigger, and he did stop Phoenix production. The problem here is that MaxPax knows. Remember, he saw the lack of Phoenix production. Like, he knows that there should be a Twilight Council on the way.
Like, you're just kind of stuck there, but Trigger wants to get away before it gets too out of control.
I hear you, brother. And this Oracle is going to get 4
nice
probes.
Damage.
Very nice harass there by MaxPax. I'm surprised he got any use out of that Oracle, to be honest. Like, when there's Phoenixes out for both sides, it feels like it can be difficult for the Oracles to do anything. I'm pretty sure he'd be happy to cash that out for 4 workers at this point.
Double Adept going to try to run its way into the NAT as well to get some return damage, but wow, met with incredible resistance. The battery, unfortunately, Trigger didn't quite queue up the attack perfectly, so it actually healed the probe, and then the Phoenix there to lift them up, so nothing to be done there. I think MaxPax is also already reading into this and knowing that it's not actually a Phoenix commitment. Never mind, I say that and he starts with the second Phoenix.
No, he knows it's not a Phoenix commitment. That's why he's getting Robo in another gateway. So
I'm sorry with
Gemini's initial analysis was correct. Like, he knows.
You could never be wrong.
On this one, I'm so sorry. Ignore my attempts to be smart, I guess.
No, Gemini, he knows.
Trigger is going to try to bust down the front door with these Blink Stalkers and the couple Phoenix that he has, but I don't think Blink is finished just yet, so he
gets
will
2 more
have to be a little
Phoenixes.
bit careful, doesn't get all these Stalkers.
Immortal production should be underway here for MaxPax. Takes care of all the Phoenixes, going for the mass lift.
For MaxPax, and sure, they're not normally units that are meant to fight, but if you can pair it up with enough on the ground, it becomes very overwhelming very quickly.
Yeah, if you get to like the critical massive
barely picks off 2 more.
Win the fight. But right now,
Trigger, he's basically all in. Like, Trigger's trying to end the game here and now, pre-blink, even getting a proxy in the face of MaxPax. But once the immortal count builds up, then MaxPax should hold.
MaxPax takes a great fight there. He reduces the Phoenix count by a lot and picks off some Stalkers. And yeah, right now he's just defending. And he obviously knows he's transitioning out of Phoenixes now, so he's going into Immortals on his end.
Yeah, Trigger now is going to be finishing up Blink right now, so that means it's allowing him to potentially get some more damage. He's going to try and poke forward a little bit and bait these
Has to be
Phoenixes
so
out
careful
on
with
his other
Blink.
units to try and see what he can do. But mostly
Cannot
it
get
looks like
baited.
he's going to be trying to contain MaxPax as he realizes his opportunity there for like a really quick like bust down the natural move is basically over. It didn't quite work, and then he was going to try to snowball it with the Blink, but now he kind of has to just contain the opponent and then just go into a third base and macro up behind it.
This is very weird to look at. You have Trigger pushing MaxPax with a proxy gate while expanding behind this. It's like he's attacking and expanding at the same time.
It's containing.
Like it's breaking a rule of StarCraft. You know what I mean? Like,
so the goal here with the proxy, initially Trigger was going all in, but the all in failed, and now it's just about containing the Protoss, MaxPax at least, for as long as he can.
Will it get out of control? But the problem is these Immortals, they're going to do so well into the Stalkers. There's Oracle finds his way into the middle right again.
He gets in.
Phoenixes.
No!
They're going to get... Okay, 3 more workers, but they're adding up now. The recall has to happen, and that takes the pressure off MaxPax.
Yeah, that's the big win right there. Sure, he only gets a couple pros, but now he knows the army is back at Trigger's base. He's free to move down the ramp, kill off this proxy gateway, and all that pressure is gone, and he's able to take a third base of his own. And despite the fact that Trigger got the faster third, it does mean that his army is going to be a little bit smaller for now because obviously he used those extra resources in taking that faster third, whereas MaxPax was just making more army. And you can even see now Trigger realizing that fact is kind of panicking a little bit. He's making some extra batteries at his third. He's not exactly sure if MaxPax is just going to full-on counterattack or not. But for now, it's just going to be the Phoenixes doing harassment, which means that Trigger is going to quickly fall behind here because the economy is getting roasted by all these Phoenixes.
Yeah, this is getting out of hand. This is critical damage here. 15 probes just go down. Quickly touching what was just mentioned here, Trigger did misread. He assumed there was a counterattack, but as we can see, and Trigger did confirm this a little bit later as well, there's a third, right? Like MaxPax is getting a third base up and running. He's macroing up back at home. You can see he's only harassing with Phoenixes. He's keeping his Immortals back until he finishes Charge, +1, and Archon. So MaxPax, he is not pushing anytime soon, but he is crippling Trigger. He is maintaining a better economy, and he's not done because we have another wave of Phoenixes moving out towards the natural base of Trigger.
I guess these will help later if they attack me, eventually in the game. But for now, things not looking too on the up for Trigger at the moment. The Phoenix is still trying to do what they can, but their time is passed just a little bit. It's going to be more difficult for MaxPax to find any extra damage with them, but absolutely more than paid for themselves by this point. Trigger's going to have to find a way to get himself a little bit more back into this game. So this army is really going to be losing value, or sorry, it's not going to be matching MaxPax, I should say,
scaling
in power, considering the fact that MaxPax is just so much more well-rounded. All those Immortals, all those Charge Lots, all those Archons, it's just a much beefier army that's going to be hard to actually attack with.
Yeah, as they're getting into MaxPax, he has a much higher tech and higher tier army going into Charge Lot, Archon, Immortal. Trigger is stuck on Pure Blink Stalker. Pure Blink Stalker can do well in the mid game, but it does fall off as the game goes on. MaxPax's army is just more efficient. It's just a much more efficient composition. Ideally, he just reinforced with Pure Zealots and should only be losing Zealots as well.
Get in position. So many Immortals hitting it right now. It will actually be forced to cancel that. And Trigger's standing army has a lot of Stalkers with some Archons being added in, but the Immortals look so scary on MaxPax's side right now.
Yeah, it's very difficult for Trigger to actually engage into that. Wisely does not actually pull it. I almost did it. Pull the trigger. That's so hard.
Just keep doing it. Just commit.
I'm not even doing that on purpose. I swear.
He nearly pulled the trigger.
I'm so sorry, guys. But yeah, he just had to cancel the fourth base. Just has to play it safe and super slow at this point. He needs to draw this game out in any way possible because right now his army cannot compete with what MaxPax has. You can see he's just trying to poke and prod, just try and see any little damage he can get on the Immortal.
Yeah, it's just such an uphill battle here for Trigger. Like, he just cannot touch, he cannot fight the army. The best chance that Trigger has is run-bys and counterattacks, right? Like, if he can go for a counterattack, if he can get into the main base of the War Prism, if he can go for a Zealot run-by, if he can distract MaxPax, pull him back, and then pick off, like, the tail end of the army, there are ways to outposition MaxPax, but Trigger, he has to make those opportunities for himself. And right now, he's stuck at home. He's stuck at home, MaxPax is moving in, and MaxPax, he'll be the first to max out.
Just kind of sitting here at his fourth, trying to defend it.
Yeah, we have transitioned into this kind of Zealot Archon portion of the PvP. Huge warp in by MaxPax as well. Going to try to be matched by Trigger, but I don't know if he had quite as many warp ins available.
Ooh, there's recall.
That trade may go in MaxPax's favor. The army is now engaged. Phoenix is picking up as many units as they can, even getting an Immortal there in the back. Super valuable unit. just being taken out of the fight. Meanwhile, the Zealots running wild in the natural. The probes have to be pulled. MaxPax's army looks huge right now. I think he's winning on both fronts. Going to be taking out all these units. The shield batteries are not enough to help. And some Zealots,
yeah, he's just overwhelming. He's just overwhelming the main army here. MaxPax pushing in towards the third base. Meanwhile, Zealots break through the natural, pushing in towards the main as well. So Trigger, he's just on fire everywhere. Everything's flashing red. The main base, the natural, and the third as well. GG gets called, and MaxPax will take the series 3-1. GG.
Wow. What a performance there. Trigger fighting to the very end. You got to respect it. Good showing by him. I mean, he played well today, but when you're the aggressor, you always take the chance that the guy you're playing against defends perfectly, and then you lose. Because that's just the nature of defending, right? Like, if you defend perfectly, you should win. But MaxPax looks so good today.
Yeah, this is the problem that happens in this kind of 1-gate versus 2-gate matchup usually, is that it kind of just boils down to, can you break them?
Right.
If the answer is no, you lose. Like, there's not much that you can really do in some of these scenarios, and you can see that Trigger was really trying every possible option that he had. He was really just throwing everything out there, the kitchen sink involved. And, you know, Stargate in the base, a proxy robo with Immortals, a proxy robo with Prism, you know, faster Nexus. It worked out one of the games, but you know, MaxPax is just so solid, it seems like.
I would disagree with Gemini's analysis there. He was talking about how, like, against like the gate expand build of MaxPax, like, you have to be aggressive. That isn't the case. If you recall, that's how Trigger won game 2. He didn't out-aggress him. He out-greeted him, right? Like, Trigger, he was able to get a faster natural, a faster third base, and maintain a greater economy. Not saying that he could do that every game, but there are other ways to approach MaxPax, and this is where, like, I would say both Classic and Hero excel when it comes to mixing up their builds, mixing up their all-ins, mixing up their greed, mixing up their mind games. I would say that's maybe the biggest weakness here of Trigger this series, is there weren't any mind games. I'm a little bit surprised, but there was no proxy Stargate, there was no fake proxy pylon. Whenever he went for a proxy, he committed into an all-in, and there were some maps where that was quite questionable, and every time he did go for it, he was scouted, right? We saw it scouted on Tokamak, we saw it scouted on Magnetic North as well, where both times we saw that MaxPax was able to scout, confirm, and shut down the proxies real fast and real quick, and we didn't really see any mind games from Trigger. I did really like game 2 and game 4. Game 2, of course, was when Trigger was able to outgreed him, and game 4, here we saw the Phoenix open out of Trigger. But winding it back, a big, I would say, deciding factor of game 4 was the Adept Scout. Referring to the moment when the Adept got into the main base and when we saw that MaxPax scouted that the Stargate wasn't making a Phoenix. That was the moment that MaxPax confirmed, oh, you're switching out of Mass Phoenix and you're switching out of Phoenix Wars into Blink instead. And you saw that as soon as he realized that, he threw down a Gateway, he threw down a Robo. So he started Immortal production, he started his ground-based composition as well. So it was a really crucial moment there for MaxPax to confirm what Trigger was up to. Outside of that moment, I really enjoyed what Trigger was doing there, as he was trying to fake out MaxPax, going Phoenixes, switching into Blink. Like, it all made sense and it can work, but it got scouted is the issue there. It got scattered, and with that, MaxPax was able to react, respond, and shut it down. So really nice scouting there by MaxPax in game 4. I think game 4 was the most interesting game out of all the other games. All the others were very one note, because it was either proxy one base all in or just outgreed MaxPax and just snowball from there. So I'll say that game 1, 2, and 3 were a little bit lackluster and very straightforward. Game 4 was a little bit more complex, was a little bit more interesting, but with that, GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to MaxPax. Meanwhile, of course, shout out to Archon Studios. They do sponsor the event, and you can see there they do have the Zeratul figure. If you want to hear more on the Archon Studios miniatures game, then do check out the podcast this week. We did discuss quite heavily the AMA that they had. We spoke about some of the trials and tribulations and some of the ambitions that Archon Studios has with their miniatures games, and some of the challenges that they're going to have to overcome, some of the hurdles that they have to get past and get through in regards to having a successful miniatures game, especially in a kind of environment where Warhammer 40k has the monopoly, where Blizzard is going to have to support it and going to have to promote it quite heavily, especially in an environment where there isn't as much kind of community love and as much of a bridge between the community and Blizzard as there were in many years past. But again, we did kind of delve into that into more detail during the podcast this week, so I do recommend it. And again, personally, I'm looking forward to the miniatures game. They had a really in-depth AMA Again, that was like a week ago, so do recommend it. Otherwise, with that, GG well played. We do apologize for going live late. Once again, I do apologize. We didn't realize that they had rescheduled to begin their games earlier, like 2 hours earlier than originally scheduled. So I do apologize because that we missed out on most of Reigner vs Classic. I do feel bad about that. I would have loved to have casted more of that. We were only able to catch the tail end of it, but I'm sure we did hear the rest of the games were quite solid as well, so I do recommend checking it out. When it comes to tomorrow's broadcast, bam, you can see our weekly schedule here. The numbers aren't correct, as we did mention. The days are starting earlier, but we should be live tomorrow and every day thereafter with the RSL starting 2 hours earlier than normal. So I do recommend it. Likewise, we potentially have the Wardy TV replay cast on Saturday as well. We're waiting to get the replays for that cast, and likewise, most likely we're going to be having a Pig Star Cup replay cast as well, as the internet went down halfway through Pig Star Cup, so we did not cast the semis or the grand finals. So yeah, we had a smooge day yesterday morning with Pig Star Cup, as we weren't able to cover all of it. Feels bad, man. When it comes to the RSL, the offline finals, bam, right around the corner on December 14th. There's going to be an offline qualifier as well, which we weren't expecting, but there's a last chance qualifier. It's going to be happening in South Korea. A lot of us do assume that is why Reigner is in Korea, to compete in the last chance qualifier, to be able to be a part of RSL alongside, of course, all the other local Korean players as well. So yeah, it's going to be a 2-day event. One day is going to be the last chance qualifier. The other day is going to be the playoff bracket itself. So look forward to the RSL. Again, that's going to be later on in December. Cool. Here we go. Here we go. Guess it's fun having some variety in players. Clem and Cyril missing from this tournament. I mean, Cyril's always missing from this tournament. I think Clem is the only one that that we typically expect to see here. We might even see, I think there were some people speculating that maybe Clem was traveling to Korea. If Clem was in Korea, then we might see Clem in the last chance qualifier as well. So we'll see. We'll see if Clem gets involved, but it is normal to not see Cyril in events. That's normal. Happy. Just catching up. Also, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Shuraj? Happy Shoda. Thank you so much for subscribing for 5 months, with 2 months in a row. Thank you. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it. Just catching up in the chat. Catching up. Catching up. Here versus Reigner happens more frequently. It does. It does. I mean, hey, we just casted a best of 7 between Hero and Reigner, which Hero did win 4-1. Did happen. Grapes. Oh, true. I got you. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. And again, we'll see you guys tomorrow for day number 2 of the playoffs of the RSL. Again, starting 2 hours earlier than normal. So we'll make sure we'll be a part of that event and part of that broadcast. And again, tomorrow we should be covering, I believe it's going to be Hero versus Reigner, Mar versus MaxPax, Zan versus Classic, and Shin versus Trigger. 4 more best of 5s. So we'll see you tomorrow. Till then, thank you so much for watching. Ciao, papi, ciao, hasta luego. See you tomorrow. Take care. If you want to support us, you can do so by following us on all the socials, !mark socials in the chat. You can follow us on YouTube. We upload on YouTube on a daily basis, every single day on YouTube. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Ciao, papi, ciao. See you next time. Hasta luego.